Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Misfit Toys comedy live stream. Gonna get some snaps. Gonna get some jazz hands. Yes, yes, yes. I am so honored to have for the first time Paul Scotto Di Pompéo from Paris, who now lives in DC, the hilarious Teddy Margas, and myself, Iggy Love Sky. Thank you so much for being here. Paul and I met. It was my 18th birthday at the Queen on the Champs-Élysées when I was studying at the Sorbonne. And since then, so much has happened. Paul, tell us a little bit about your job at the State Department and then what you do now.
Wow. It has been a long journey, actually, Igor. You're right. When I knew you, I was working with a fashion designer in Paris and going to fashion design school at the same time. And you had met Eric Allais, actually, several times. Since then, I moved to the States, went back to school to become a sociolinguist and a linguist. And I did a master's at Howard University in sociolinguistics and comparative sociolinguistics. It was extremely interesting. My interests were particularly with the difference in between the vernaculars in France and Afro-American vernacular English, which is why I went to Howard. And I taught there. I was a full-time professor there. And after that, I was offered to work as a contractor for the Department of State at the Foreign Service Institute, teaching to diplomats and ambassadors of the United States. It was very interesting. Now
Teddy, he went from fashion design to working at the State Department and doing accessories in Paris, like someone does.
Like any self-respecting homosexual.
Exactly. Yes, my queerness was ongoing. Okay. And now, actually, I work as a contractor with USAID, and it's amazing. I'm a senior instructional designer, and I work with the Greenleaf Integrative, which is an amazing company focusing on mindfulness and wellness in the workplace. So I've been a little bit everywhere, I feel like, when it comes down to my work. But within my work, I've never really felt, bad about expressing my queerness and felt always very comfortable about it. And I was very lucky to be within entities that felt comfortable with that as well, I think. That's me.
I love it. And do you have anything to teach breakfast and BITCH? What'd you have for breakfast? And what is bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, or hard about your life right now?
So what I had for breakfast, it was quite easy. There were hard-boiled eggs and fresh lemon juice. Is that what you had, Teddy?
I love you.
And what has been hard lately, I think, frankly, to try to get into a new company all virtually. I feel like it has been somewhat challenging to make connection, but I'm extremely lucky to be with people who actually connect very easily with other people. And I've had one-on-ones with almost everybody at my company, actually. Maybe at the very top as like me. So it's super nice.
I love it. Teddy, we all know you, and if they don't know you, it's time to know from your background. You choose what you want to share and impart with the world.
Well, I mean, my hand has been up in every pot. I've done everything, but my main goal was just, I'm creative. I'm an actor. I'm a writer. I'm a producer. I'm a director. I'm a stand-up comic. I'm a comic writer. I mean, I like having pots on every single burner, right now focusing on acting. Especially now in Hollywood, this is what we call episodic season, and it's the time when all the shows are just starting to cast for the season, and we're kind of getting back into it after the pandemic. So my schedule's been really busy, and I'm really, really excited because I am finally at the place where I have been longing to get to for a very long time. And it feels so free and refreshing and fantastic to be there. So,
yay. Last time we talked, you were on AJ and the Queen as the
I was the club owner. Tony.
Yes.
Got in a fight with RuPaul because RuPaul quit on me. And I was like, they're like, if anybody can fight with RuPaul, we think it's you. And I was like, why do you say that? I'm so nice. Bring it on.
And what did you breakfast and BITCH?
Breakfast was, I love hard-boiled eggs. And I've learned to perfect them in the Instant Pot because I like them just a little custardy in the inside. I don't like a chalky yolk. So I have learned to make them to perfection, and I cut them in half. I do half an avocado, a whole kind of like custardy egg, and lemon juice. When you said that, that's why I said we should get married. Anyhow, that was my breakfast. And what am I bitching about? I will tell you. We just had this conversation yesterday. Fat shaming. I've claimed the word. Oh, let's stay claimed. I've owned the word fat. It does not offend me. It doesn't bother me. And it's so insane to me that is a quick cut to that people go to all the time when they're like angry or you've pissed them off or whatever. Like right away, like, oh, you fat, whatever. And I just had this conversation yesterday, and that really kind of pisses me off. And it doesn't piss me off because I'm offended. It pisses me off because I think you're stupid and ignorant if you need to go there. Like, do something.
Get creative.
Get creative.
If you're going to insult me, get creative.
Yeah,
get
somebody
creative.
was asking for money in front of like a convenience store. And I don't normally give the money, but if I have it or if it's, I will sometimes, depends. But I literally, we work off debit cards. They all should get, every person should get a square. And if you bet some money, just say, here, swipe your card. That's what you should do. Okay? And I didn't have any money. I said, I'm so sorry, I don't have any money. He's like, you fat bitch. I was like, oh my God. This is what you're going to go to? I was not having it. So we are now in the the conversation and what I'm really like completely freaked out about is, we're so, everybody is so conscious about the hate that's out there. And I am too. I mean, the Black Lives Matter, the Asian hate, all that hate. And we're all trying to, I think it's time, like, hello, let's get into fat hate too. Like, because it's time. Like, let's get rid of hate. Let's eradicate hate completely.
Yes.
Just completely.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Emily Baker, she has to rewatch AJ and the Queen. It's also her birthday. Paul, in French. Joyeux
anniversaire. Il fallait chanter. Hein.
Happy birthday, Emily. Yes.
Want it in Greek? Let's do it in Greek. Na έχεις χρόνια πολλά και μεγάλη χαρά.
С днем рождения тебе.
Joyeux anniversaire.
Feliz cumpleaños. International, Emily, we love you. Yeah. We love you. We got Ray, who is our favorite super fan, tuning in from Wales. Yes. We love you. He had scrambled eggs on toast.
I love that too. How much do you love eggs? Eggs are just.
Oh my gosh.
I love them too. Definitely.
Can I be honest with both? Oh my gosh.
I had
a White Claw and Sour Patch Kids for breakfast.
Ew.
I know. I had a White Claw, and I know that like LGBTQ stands for like questioning, because like I'm like I don't know if I'm gay, and then I look, I'm like, I'm drinking an acai berry hard cider with Sour Patch Kids. Question answered.
Yeah, definitely.
Question answered.
Put a period at the end of that, gay. Honey.
And what do I have to BITCH about?
Well, hold
I'm
on one
trying
second.
to.
I would.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'd like to piggyback on what Teddy was saying. I think it's time in our community, like the LGBT plus community, to just stop shaming. Period.
Period.
Like, I mean, it's kind of tired. Like, let's not shame each other. Like, let's be proud of each other and let's empower each other. I just
Yes,
don't
let's
get
lift
it
each other
anymore.
up. Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
it's just
beautiful.
annoying. This Wednesday was the Transgender Day of Visibility,
True.
and
True.
and I attended a lot of different panels, which were completely enlightening. And what I heard was that transgenders in general and non-binaries altogether, they don't want to be seen as someone else, as a transgender or whatever. They just want to be seen. They just want to be human. And I think the shaming that we have learned from our community, but also from our society, has pushed this forward into putting people into different boxes, which actually pushes the shaming. So
Yes.
let's just drop that.
But people have a hard time understanding if it's not in a category. They're like, their minds kind of just stop. They're like, and I remember when I first moved to LA, and they're like, I don't understand. You're Jewish and you're from the Ukraine and you're gay and you're how can and you're like laying in bed and they're looking up at me and they're like, I don't understand. I thought all the Jews were killed in the Jewish war and they have white people in Africa. And I'm like, oh, what we do to be in a bed with one of Janet Jackson's dancers. I was like, oh, do I kick him out? Do I keep going? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But the BITC,
that is a major point that, and we've gotten worse. Is you know, I know I look 20, but I'm not. And I remember when I was first coming out, everybody was, you know, accepting, and you went into a gay bar or you were just so happy to see another LGBTQ person. You were just so happy, like, and you accepted, and it was just cool. This one was blonde, this one was hairy, this one was, I mean, it was just, and there wasn't even like the conversation of top or bottom. It was just, we were just being, and we're just happy, and we're open, and it was about love. And we've gotten so far away from that. And yes, we need to really come. I love that you said that, because I would love to start within our community. That's where we should start. Always start at home and then branch it out, because we've gotten really bad with that shaming for whatever reason.
So I have a challenge, and this really happened in San Diego, but every day I purposefully try to just empower someone without without wanting anything in return.
I love
and
that.
Just paying that compliment, doing it, giving an extra tip, or just that extra little something with nothing in return. And it's, at first they're like, people are so unused to this that they're like, what do you want from me, creeper? What's going on? And I'm like, no, I'm just saying, you know, you look very nice today. I like your bow tie, or that. You want my OnlyFans? Like what? Like everyone gets like all on guard, and they're just like, But my BITCH moment is that my Baja Benz, I haven't had a chance to get the new little sticker, and they gave me a ticket for not having the sticker.
What is that?
You know, like the little registration, if they have the sticker on the back of your license plate.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing is I've been going and then putting mud over the sticker.
You do that really well.
and I throw dirt up on it, and I cover it with mud. But then it rained or whatever. It got moist, and then it dribbled. And then they gave me a fine. And I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna go get my emissions.
How much was the fine?
It was like $60. That's not the point. It was just like, come on.
I'm curious. Forgive me. I'm in my Palm Springs wear.
Yes. So we have so many, like, I'd love to hear about the journey that we've all been on. Mine started at, coming from communist Russia to America, studied very hard because many of you heard it. My mother raised me with the carrot and the stick. She ate carrot and then she beat me with stick. And then if I didn't get points, she put rusty nail in the stick and she threatened me with tetanus. And then in America, you have choices, tetanus or do your homework. And that fear of tetanus got me a scholarship to Georgetown, which then led me to the Sorbonne where I met Paul, and boom, everything started moving forward. And I did, at the same time, I launched a fashion line and a clothing company that Paul helped me release in Paris, which was amazing. And I was doing costumes. And of course, Mama Nina was like, you did not study to go to Georgetown to be a pant maker. You're supposed to be diplomat, not measuring inseams. But I had this battle between creativity and expressing myself creatively and fulfilling my need to pay the bills. And I know, Paul, you're an amazing artist. You draw, you're so creative, and yet you've had to kind of balance one over the other. How have you bridged that gap between that need to feed your creative soul and then the need to, and what you're also very good at is educating? Have you been able to bridge that? Do you miss being creative? Because for a lot of artists, they can't find success in the sense that the double S's with dollar signs, that their inspiration feeds them and puts a roof over their head and gives them clothing. So tell me, how have you bridged that? Have you bridged that? Has that been a challenge for you?
It's a really good question. It has not been a challenge because in order to be a good educator or a good instructor, you have to be extremely creative because the people who are in front of you have different learning styles. You have to cater to their style in order to transmit the knowledge. So the creativity that I have is not in creating art anymore. It's in creating different pathways that can touch as many people as I can with the knowledge that I'm supposed to be transmitting. I think the thing that I do not miss whatsoever from the fashion industry and from this creative part, which was so big for me when I was younger, is the ego that gets into the creation of your art. I think that you have to create with that being humble, and your ego takes over. And very often for that, the end of the tunnel is to be famous and to be recognized and whatever it is. So for me, that was never really the end of the line. Did I want to become famous? Yes, for my talent in a way. I totally get it. But I really wanted the creation, and the creative part for me in the fashion industry was more about the research, about like the meaningful message behind the clothes and the correlations that I was making with, you know, the thinking process of creating the clothes. So I don't miss that because I find it every day in everything that I do. I have to be creative in order to touch as many people as I can, and as many different people. We're definitely very different, all of us. So some people are visual learners, other are kinetic learners. There are so many different ramifications of that, and I take a lot of pleasure in doing this.
He was also really bad at sewing. Like so bad at sewing. He was amazing at drawing and creating, and then you give him two pieces of, he's just like,
No.
that's when he would give it to me.
Yeah, no, give it to someone else. Okay.
Don't go on Drag Race.
Yeah, no.
We used to, when Paul and I used to work together, when he moved to DC, we had a company and we would make all of the drag queen costumes for all of the festivals and all of the circuit parties. And he would come up with the most crazy, just beautiful. And then he's looking at me and I'm like, oh boy, I got to figure out how to engineer, because I'm much more on the engineering side and he was so much more on the conceptual side, and we made such a great team together and we had just so many amazing moments. Teddy, have you been able to bridge your creativity with your production side? Are you able to thrive off of your creativity, and how does that manifest itself?
It took a while because it's not easy to do. I was blessed, much like you, I was blessed with parents who instilled a very strong work ethic in me. My father had a very successful restaurant, so we grew up not really wanting or needing anything. I'm lucky for that. But it was never just given to us. My father had us work for it. I wanted roller skates. You want roller skates? You come in and you be a busboy for 2 weeks, you know? And so we grew up thinking, oh, if I want this, I have to work for it. So work to me was never anything. And so I have friends that are struggling with it and have come to me many times and was like, how do you do it? I don't know how I do it, but you just do it. You have to, if you have 8 hours a day that you want to be creative, you got to match it with 8 hours a day where you're going to make the money so that you can be creative, and one feeds the other. So, you know, it's about that balance. So I literally would sleep very little bit, working at night. I mean, I had to work at a time where I could be free in the day to do auditioning, then work so I could have a roof over my head, then go do comedy at night. So sometimes I was up till 2, 3 in the morning and then have to be up at 5 in the morning. And it just was like, well, this is what I have to do to achieve my goal. I have friends that are like, oh, I can't do it all. No, you can't, but you can manage it where you can at least make it a manageable way to do it all. Now I've gotten to the point where it's like a roller coaster, because I know the ebb and flow of my career. So I know that there are several months that this career is not at a high. And so at those times when, okay, I will, you know, haul ass and try to make as much money as I can within that period of time. And it's worked for me. But I also think even if you could apply creativity to anything that you do, whether you're a school teacher, whether you're a fashion designer, well, fashion designer is creative, but people are like, oh, I hate my office job. Don't hate your office job. Find something creative within your office job. Creativity is just, it's around us all the time and in anything that we do. So if you look at it that way, you can always be creative and always have a roof over your head.
I love it. I love it. Have you found challenge in trying to live authentically LGBTQ, whether it's in entertainment or in the professional world? Paul, have you seen this be a challenge or a hindrance, or has it been, because you're in Washington, D.C., it's a very political and proper city. Has that been a challenge? Has it been a benefit? I don't know. What is it like for you to live authentically LGBTQ in Washington, working for the Department of State, working for these other corporations?
So I don't work for DOS anymore, but to be frank, actually, I think DC is a very gay city. It's a very queer friendly city.
That DuPont circle.
Yeah, but no, I've not really found a challenge here in DC. I think when I grew up, it was a little bit more challenging, not with my family, but
I would love for you to explain what it means, because people think it's gay Paris.
Yeah,
I have never felt so terrified or in danger for being gay in the streets of gay Paris. I've never been attacked so many times, and I remember there were times where you and I were physically attacked and knives were pulled on us just because we were holding hands. Could you break that moment down? Because so many people don't realize that gay Paris is not that gay.
Yeah, I think it is gay, but people are a little bit more, quick to get into a fist fight, much more than I think in the United States for some reason. And very often, when I say I'm from Paris, people are like, "Oh my God, so chic." I grew up on the east side of Paris. I was born in the 18th. Which is kind of rough. And I grew up in an even rougher neighborhoods in subsidized housing. And
C'est le fin de RER, comment s'appelle
in Val de Fontenay.
Val de Fontenay.
Yes. And so in the 94, and so even though I grew up in a family which was extremely accepting, I never really had to come out to them. It was kind of seamless. And the circle of my family had gay friends, and it was completely fine. But later on, I had to, come out to my friends, and I had to come out in an environment where I was a minority and a double minority. I had to come out to all my friends who were Muslim, for example, and it was a little rough. And so when I moved into Paris proper later on in my life, I also realized that most of the people who stay up late, they're usually in in the city of Paris, hanging out, but they're not from Paris, they're from the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just trying to look for something to do. And why not fight? And why not fight with someone who is obviously queer, because they're probably going to win? This is the logic behind it. And Igor, you're right. I mean, I remember an instance where we were coming back to your place and we were holding hands, and all of a sudden, like 4 kids or whatever, like jumped on us with a knife. And I was like, wow. And if you remember correctly, I had...
Let me break this down. This is so, oh my God. So they show up, and this is the worst part of speaking a language, because when you're American in Paris and you don't speak French, you don't know what they're saying. But like, I understand what they're saying, and they have all these derogatory things. And I look over, and he's wearing this kind of a Kelly green Lacoste jumpsuit. And then he's like, hey, attends, and then he unzips his fanny pack to take out a switchblade. I've never seen a gangster unzip a matching coordinated fanny pack that was Kelly green that matched his whole thing. And he's like, zip! And I'm laughing, and Paul's like, this isn't a joke. And I'm like, he just put a switchblade out of his fanny pack, is trying to... And they didn't want her wallet. They didn't want money. They just were bored. And I'm like, in America, at least if I get mugged, it's for a reason. You're just bored. Like, that to me blew my mind. I'm like, you don't want money? They were just bored. I couldn't believe it. I've never been assaulted I've never been gay bashed except for in Paris.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It was not your fault, darling. They were gay. Hello. Yeah. That was internalized homophobia at its finest.
And I'm sorry, but the French, I don't want to say the French across the board, but I never, the word anti-Semitic, where they're anti-Jewish. I would go to parties with Paul and my other Jewish friend, Karen, and they would scrunch up money and they would throw it into the middle of the room, and they would just count how long it would take for the Jews to go and pick it up.
Really?
They would throw money, and there'd be like $10 in francs in the middle of the room. How did you hold
back, honey? I'm not Jewish.
No, because I'm sitting there and I'm like looking at it and I'm like, pride. But see, I knew if I waited, they would throw more money in the longer we waited. So I was like, let me wait, $10. And I go, and as soon as I grabbed it, they would all be like, Hanukkah, 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 Hanukkah. I'm like, it's Passover, it's not Hanukkah. But I had no, but I never experienced anything like it until
I have to explain this just to give context. So what is it? The French sense of humor, if you can call that a sense of humor, is actually very gritty. It's very mocking. And so we have this long line of pseudo comedians, and they're actually very famous, who actually make fun of minorities and other people by being extremely right. So it's somewhat, I mean, I don't want to say it's normal, but it's completely common money to make very offensive jokes, and people are like, oh my God, yeah, it's funny. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's offensive. Like, you know, I don't get it. Like, it's just sad. But and this was a big group of gay guys too. Okay.
I mean, but like, at least I can respect racism, and when it's in my face. I've tend to. This is again. I'm not trying to stereotype, but in America, especially on the coastal elite, they keep their racism for the private. Like they pretend to be so accepting on the outside, but as soon as the doors close, girl, at least in France, a lot of times in New York too, they're just like, I hate you up front in your face. But then there's a lot of kind of like, would you agree, Teddy, with this? Has that been your experience?
It's I don't know if I agree with that 100%, but
let's talk about it.
No, I think what threw me off was you said I can respect that. We all talk and we all say stuff behind closed doors, but I think that spills over.
Maybe respect's not the right word, but I appreciate it being not hidden, but in the forefront so that we can discuss it. I just don't like it being hidden. Respect's not the right word, but so, I prefer to have it out in the open. In
your face again, like I said about fat shaming. I've owned the word fat. I don't have a problem with it, but you call me fat, okay. I just think you're ignorant, but whatever. But what I would like to get to the point of place of is, let's just stop it even behind closed doors, because I'm guilty of that too. Let's just stop that. Because it spills over, and who you're speaking to, you don't know where they're going to go with it or how they're. So it just has to just stop altogether. Period. Privately as well. So.
And have you, Teddy, found being authentically yourself, unapologetically authentic, and LGBTQ, has it been a challenge? Or now have you seen a change in entertainment?
Well, there's a big change in entertainment. Yes. I mean, I remember, I think I've spoke of this before. You go on a movie set, or you go and, you have the union and the Teamsters, and they're all like, it's like gym class all over again. You're like, oh my God, they're going to yell faggot. They're going to like, oh my God. And it was always, even within this industry, it was like, oh. And when I worked on AJ and the Queen, like I said, I keep saying this, I don't know who was responsible for it, but it was the first time ever, and I've been in this business for over 20 years, it is the first time ever we were the majority. Every single person on that set was LGBTQ+. Every cameraman, grips, electricians, and I just was like, oh my God, I died. I'm in heaven. Oh my God, I died. When did I die? I died. I'm in heaven. It was so crazy. And I was so grateful and thankful for that. But I also, once again, I was raised by my father, Greek immigrant. We were raised with more of a European sense, where whatever the child wanted to be, or whatever the child, my parents had a mentality of, let's guide that child. Oh, he's really good at playing the piano. Should we push him in that direction? Like, so it wasn't like, you're going to do this and you're going to do this. It was, if it made us happy, we were able to do it. So they instilled in me a confidence that when I would walk down the street, plus the fact that I'm built like a linebacker, that didn't hurt either. I mean, people would like cross the street when I was walking. Little did they know I'm walking like, girl, she working in town, girl, bitch, cause yeah. But then they're like, wait a minute, is he a linebacker? Wait a minute. So, but it's I walked with an air of, yeah, come at me. So I never had to. I may have toned it down, I may have pulled it back, but I never had to suppress. And I know I'm super lucky for that. I know I am. So
I love it.
Do you have any Paisley today?
Do you have any funny moments of BTS behind the scenes green room chronicles in regards to being authentically gay, authentically LGBTQ, where you've had moments? I would love to hear. Yes. Spill the tea, girl. Spill the tea.
About 2 years ago, and this is how I know we've also changed as well. And I literally, at first, my butt clenched, like, oh, and then I went, oh my God, they're in on it. I was for a while there cast over and over and over again as like mafia types. Okay, I get it. What I look like, I get it. I'm a mafia type. I gotta come in. You're the bouncer. You're the mafia type. Okay, I was on Lethal Weapon, and I was doing my lines, and every time they yelled cut, I was stabbed in the neck with a fork, right? And I had to literally faint. But they made it very comfortable for me to do so. They put all these mattress pads down. So I would go, ugh, when I got stabbed. Okay. And every time they yelled cut, I'd go, girl. So they're seeing like, yo, whoa, ooh, girl. Like, because it was so much. Like, we did it like 600 times. I kept falling, and I was like, okay, girl, can we stop this? Please, can we stop this? And finally, the director was like, and he was like over like the big loudspeaker. He was like, Teddy, we're dying back here watching Mafia Man die and then yell girl. I hope girl doesn't seep into. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'll stop saying it. Okay. Stab down. Girl. Oh, I can't help it. I just can't help it. I have to say girl. Oh my God. And that to me, I was so like, it was so cool that they were able to like get it and know it and go, okay, honey, we cast a homosexual as the mafia. I was Don Corleone, basically.
Don Corleone.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I think we've come a long way. I really have. We have a longer way to go, but we've come a long way.
Paula, did you have any fun BTS water cooler or just in general moments of just, I don't know, they were bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, or hard? They were behind the scenes.
So they're not as funny as Teddy's, okay, I have to say. But I think that there were a couple of times where I was in situations that were extremely serious, like you have to handle diplomatic level, like international things, and all of a sudden everybody breaks the room. You go out and people are talking to you and they're all like, oh, so you're his boyfriend. Oh, you're his boyfriend. Oh, he's his boyfriend. And everybody gets connected like this. So there are groups, for foreign service officers that are LGBT groups, and everyone they all seem to know each other one way or another. So it's kind of funny, I think. And there's another behind the scene that happened to me when I was a professor in college. I also happened to be a mentor for a lot of students. And one day, this girl comes to me, and she tells me that she's very happy to be at Howard University, that she's learning a lot of things, and she's learning how to be unapologetic about the fact that she is African American, and that she is learning that she doesn't have to be apologetic about the fact that she's queer. And finally, she tells me, I also don't have to feel ashamed nor feel apologetic about being trans. And so we started to talk, together, and she had not started her therapy, her hormone therapy. And it seemed that I seemed to have understood that her family was supportive, but, without the means that, that could support her transition, particularly with hormones. And so the behind the scene is that I made an appointment for her at the Whitman Walker Clinic in DC. And we went together, to actually fill out all the paperwork and everything. And this was a great moment for me, because she actually taught me how to be unapologetically gay and queer, and not feel, I'm like, if this young girl can do all of this and she's so young, why should I feel any different? Like, okay. So she, very often in mentor-mentee and mentee-mentor relationship, you learn, it's kind of like a relationship where both parties learn. And this was so meaningful to me. I really enjoyed that.
Wow.
That's so interesting that we find inspiration from those that have, like, you're like, how would you, I'm trying to distill it down and to articulate that someone who has so much more to, I don't want to say lose, or their hill is steeper. Here you find someone whose hill is steeper, but yet they're pushing that boulder up, up, up with more momentum, and you're looking at your hill, and it's not even at that incline. You're like, what? And it motivates you to push it even harder. And when you see that happening, that's so amazing. That is so amazing. That's fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. If we're looking at how to move forward, what would be some ideas on how do we create this acceptance, this understanding, a space for unapologetic authenticity? How do we do this? I know RuPaul has done it through not only the show RuPaul's Drag Race, but also bringing in the gaffers, the DPs, the staff that surrounds the show, not just the actual actors, and creating that space. What are some ideas that you have, Paul or Teddy? Please.
I say this, like, this is what I never used to do, and I started to do it. It's speak up. If you see something, say something. Don't let him get away with. Be unapologetically gay. Just be that. Be it. Be yourself, and do not make excuses for it. And if somebody offends you, or if somebody, speak up, because I think when we hide or we cower, when you know somebody in the community, then you're more likely to accept that. Growing up, it was just, I never ever even thought twice about faking it, getting excited if I saw a girl that, I'll say that she turns me on, or she's my girlfriend. I kind of never did that. And I learned that, look, they will love you or they will hate you no matter what. People either love you or hate you. That's it. So be yourself. Be yourself, speak up. And, if you see something, say something. I've always said to friends of mine who they were taking classes to lose their sibilant S because they spoke like this. And I was like, don't. One day you will be paid a lot of money to be like that. Look at Leslie Jordan. Leslie Jordan was a short, queenie man. And he didn't ever compromise. And now look at him.
That just triggered an amazing memory. I'm at the Astor Burger on Santa Monica Boulevard. Everybody knows that Astor Burger, and it's where everybody goes after hours. And there's a lot of stars will go there after getting their Oscars, and they will eat in the little booths. And they have these, you can put a quarter in, and it'll start music. And so there's a little jukebox. Yes, there's a little jukebox at every booth. And there were several trends. I was with several transgender friends of mine, and I could hear a couple booths back people saying stuff, just inappropriate stuff. And I was like, girl. They're like, girl. So I put in thing, put on some Beyonce. Next thing you know, it was a catwalk. They vogued the house down thing. Everybody, it turned into a party in the thing, and it just was. So that being unapologetically yourself and owning it and embracing it, and it was just, I was just blown away that they not only had the courage to do so, but did it unapologetically. And we're like, Yes. Let me explain to you.
Right.
Beyonce. Okay, here we go. And Bootylicious came on, and they just, I mean, it was amazing. And I was like, this is why I love West Hollywood. But that courage to be themselves and unapologetically themselves. And that to me was one of those moments where I was just like, I don't know if I have the courage to do something like that. Oh my God, you are amazing.
I think that's flawless. I think I drove past when it was happening because I was like, what is going on in there?
Paul, what about you? What about you? In DC, in such a conservative environment, like whether it's at the State Department, whether it's in a corporate setting, whether it's, you know, how do you do that there?
So,
because you can't just vogue the house down in the middle of the corridor at the State Department.
Hold on, you might be able to.
Yes, you might be wrong. Okay. So I think you can be authentic without like being all out either. Like not all out in the sense of like going voguing in the middle of, you know, the State Department or wherever it is, like, or the White House for that matter. But here, I think you should be able to own your own mask in a particular setting. So, you know, we all wear social masks. It's completely fine. Now, you can be authentic in that mask, but understand the type of, you know, jargon that you're supposed to be using or the register of language that you're supposed to be using, and fit in professionally and fit in as well in your personal life. I'm sure that if you have some, you know, cisgender straight friends or whatever, you're not going to use the same lingo because they're probably not going to be understanding what you're saying. So you can be yourself with different masks. So that's how I navigate, to be frank. I'm always very true about myself. I'm very true about the meaning of my relationship with the person in front of me. I tend to be an active listener as well, and, you know, try to give back to the person the message that the person tried to give me. So I think it's all about love in a way. Love yourself and love others and respect others, but be true to your love. And if someone in front of you is not respecting that, you don't really need to talk to these people. At a professional level, if that doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, it happens. Just ask someone in another team to deal with that person, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, it sounds kind of like a deflection, but sometimes it's best. You know, why are you going to bother to like deal with that, to handle that person who is, you know, homophobic or transphobic or non-gender binary phobic?
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. I think what happens, like what I was trying to say was, you know, say something, and then there is a point where you go, you know what, this is hopeless, forget it. You do you, honey, and then walk away from it. Agreed.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the show, I called them monologues. Doesn't have to be a mom, but strong women. I love Paul's mom. May she rest in peace.
Thank you.
She was such an amazing woman. My sister still uses those colored pencils that she gave her when she was 8 years old, and she adores them.
She hasn't gone through them yet. She still uses them. But
they're like this. They're like this big, but she still uses them. And she was just such an amazing woman. What lessons, maybe it was your mother, maybe it was someone else. I call it monologues, but we've broadened it to strong women influences. What were some of the messages that the strong women in your life gave you and that you would like to share with the world?
I think I met your mom. Didn't I meet your mom, Iggy?
My mom? Oh, yes. She was sitting there at Fubar.
Show, right?
Oh, she was at Fubar. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. I remember front row. She was front row.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. She was flawless. I remember being flawless. I do. I remember you were up there and she was like looking, and I was like, now there's the mother.
Okay.
There's the mother looking at, and you were talking about some nasty, dirty shit, honey. And she was just like, yes. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and then when we got home, she was like, I was throwing up in my mouth, but I didn't want to embarrass you in front of your friends.
I have a what did you call it, a monologue.
Yes.
My mother is still a huge influence on my life because my mother is very strong. My mother is a survivor, and my mother is doesn't take any bull from anybody. And this one story comes to mind. I was, of course, the gayest child growing up. It grew into the most gayest adult, and I love it. Thank you. Let's pop the collar on the paisley. My mother, I wanted a Cartier tank watch. Well, I was in 6th grade, okay?
Who doesn't?
I want a Cartier tank watch, right? I want a Cartier tank watch. And my mother was like, you are too young for a Cartier. You have to earn a Cartier tank watch. You don't just ask for it and you get it. But they bought me a knockoff. A Fartier, maybe. I don't know what it was. They bought me a knockoff, and I was, ew, I would never wear this. I would never wear this. And my mother, this is the lesson that I've always taken from her. She goes, it's not about the watch, Teddy. It's how you wear the watch. You mark my words. If you wear that with pride and with respect and with your head held high, people are going to love it. And I was like, ugh. So, but I did, and I cannot tell you. The only reason why I wanted the watch was because there's all the little Greek kids, they all had one. Their dads were like restaurant owners, making money, throwing money away, throwing it on their kids, and they all came up to me and were like, "Of course, you have a real one. Ours are fake." And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like theirs were fake. And I thought they were real. Now they think mine's real. Oh my God. I have carried that. And not just it's really about how you hold yourself. And my mother taught me how to hold myself where you will be respected. And honey, you cannot buy that or learn it, or there you go.
I love it. Just with pride. So if you're going to do it, own it.
Do it.
Own it.
Yeah.
Own it.
Unapologetic. This isn't real. I didn't say it wasn't real, but it's just the way you held yourself.
Okay. Let's just before I had my baby, my mom told me, it's not you, it's them. You keep doing your thing. Now, whenever my daughter is playing up, I think it's not my wrongdoing. It's her acting the rascal.
True. That is so true.
And yes, Mama Nina, as always, Mama Nina. So Paul, tell us one of your monologues.
Well, I have so many because my mom was quite a character. But I think when I was 19 or 18 or something, wow, no, I was 17. Okay, so when I was 17, there was this in France. There was this video clip that got very, very popular of this group of 3 drag queens who were kind of outrageous. And one day we're watching one of these variety shows on TV with my mom and my grandmother, and one of the drag queens was wearing this amazing tight stretch skirt that I completely died for. And I was like, I want this so bad. And mind you, at the time I was wearing, those buffaloes, the compensated boots, but they were like sneakers, kind of like in the Spice Girls or something,
Yeah, they were like the platform sneakers, right?
Like gigantic, yes.
Yeah. I love
that. And so I was like, I want that skirt, period. And my mom was like, but there's nothing for you to wear like this. And I was really upset. The day after, she ended up making the skirt for me. And I was like, oh my God, you're so awesome. And at the time, on weekends, I would always go for like Friday night and Saturday night to different clubs. But on Saturday night, I definitely was going to the Palace, which was a massive like Studio 54 kind of thing. And So I go there wearing the skirt and wearing my platform shoes and everything, and it's a hit. Everybody loves it. And I get on the podium, and the podium has this like light that like, shines and shoots up the podium. And I get on and I see a friend of mine running towards me in the crowd. And she's like, Paul, this is like completely see-through. And I was like, oh my God. So I get up, off the podium. And I'm like, okay, I'm not getting on the podium again tonight, I guess. And thank God at this time we didn't have cell phones every 5 seconds snapping pictures. Okay. Anyway, so I go back home, and in the morning I wake up and I see my mom, and she's like, did people like the skirt? And I was like, yes, but it's completely see-through. And she's like, so what? And I was like, well, like everybody could see everything. And she's like, but aren't you proud of your body? Like, I was like, well,
oh my God, I love her.
Yeah, I am. Nonetheless, I'm not supposed to be like nude in front of these other people. And she's like, we're nude almost all the time at home. Why are you bothering? Like, so I took it, as like my mom was always very relaxed about everything. She was very hippie-ish about everything, like, and she was always very proud of her very petite body as well. So that's what I got from her. I'm like, just be proud of what you look like, whatever you look like. It doesn't really matter. And I loved her for that, and I love her for that still.
I love it. One lesson that the Mama Nina, this one's a hard for me, but we had some contractors working on the resort that we built down in Baja, and one of the carpenters stole over $1,000 out of her purse.
Oh, wow.
And without batting an eye, she's like, is my passport there? Well, it's a gift to the poor.
Oh my God, that's a great attitude if you could cultivate it.
She was like, that is a gift to the poor. I mean, he's short-sighted. He would have made way more money than that working for us, but it's a gift to the poor. And I'm like, and just without batting an eye, that's a gift to the poor. And when those and I'm trying to, that still work for me. Like, that don't happen organically. That's not, I'm like, and she just, without even batting an eye, he needed it for his family more than we did. It's okay.
Beautiful.
To the poor. And I was like, wow. Beautiful. I love all of the messages. This has been such an amazing hour of empowerment and entertainment. Do you have anything coming up on the what do you call it? There's like a stick in the fire. What do you call it? The poker in the hot. What's the hot? What do you call it? You know what I'm talking about.
There's a million things you could call it. You got any pots on the burner?
Yeah, but the horizon, the thing and the stick in the hot. The poke.
Don't be a stick in the mud.
No, don't be that. But you got how many things you got in the kiln. I don't remember what the English is not my first language.
Help me. There's a kiln. There's a kiln one. I know.
So what poker's in the yeah, where's your poker? Is it in the hot? How many pokers you got?
You know where my poker is? I mean, I'm busy right now because we're in episodic, but follow me on Instagram at Teddy Margas. I think it's down below, or it's right there. There it is. At Teddy Margas. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. PDT. I do Teddy Tales, where we just kiki about my gay life, and it's funny.
Love it. Scotto Di Pompéo, what's going on that we can? Because I know you're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but what's going on in your world that you want to share or that we can tap into?
Right now, I'm not so sure. I'm helping some friends actually going through some hiring process and just chilling this weekend, actually.
I love it. It's called, the phrase is irons in the fire. I like pokers in the hot.
Thank you, Ray.
Yes, thank you, Ray. I was like, pokers in the hot. Yes. Pokers, poke me in the hot. I don't know what it's called. I am excited for the first time. So it's been a year. When the pandemic started, everything disappeared. And then from the ashes, I created Misfit Toys Comedy, which is a studio dedicated to empowering diversity. And we are opening our doors to not only women, LGBTQ, and allies of diversity. So we are having this Monday at 4 p.m. our first open call for everyone to come and learn about the studio. If you would like to join the studio, we would love to have you. And we're starting MTC Live, which is our production company. And we are, for the first time, we're booking college tours. We're booking comedy tours. We have a lot of projects in the works. And this is just amazing to be able to give all of these diverse voices a platform. And I truly believe to see the light of humanity, we need every color of the spectrum to shine brightly.
Yes, we do. Yay.
Hallelujah.
So with that being said, click the link right here. If you would like to, just RSVP misfittoyscomedy@gmail.com. Drop us a line. We would love to have you on Monday. I believe it is April 5th at 4 p.m. Pacific. That's 7 p.m. East Coast, DC, New York time. This has been such an honor, such a pleasure. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Teddy,
you.
as always.
Teddy, it was great to meet you.
Yes,
Great to meet
we
you
love
too,
you,
Paul.
Wales.
Bye.
We love you, New York. We love you, DC. We love you, LA. Everything
Bye-bye.
in between.
Ciao.
Thank
Ciao,
you
ciao,
all.
ciao.